Hello everyone and welcome to our Gem Pursuit. I'm your host Matthew Weldon and I'm joined as always by my trusty co-host Alyce Ketcher. Hello Alyce.
Hi Matthew and welcome everyone. It's an interesting one because we've actually got someone who is alive, a current icon with still so much space for her to show us more. And she is of course Rihanna.
I promise everyone I won't try and sing anything this episode, but that said, let's get started. So I think, like Napoleon, at least, before we really understand why Rihanna is a jewellery icon, it's important that we get a bit of understanding of her background. And of course, a lot of people who listen to Gem Pursuit will be familiar with her background, but she is from Barbados, which is an island nation, similar weather to Ireland.
You wish.
But she began her career, she's still very young. She's only 36 years old. So only really, in terms of some of our future episodes, she's got loads and loads of events and jewelry that she will be wearing.
Well, she's also ever evolving. I mean, you've spoken so far about her beginning, right? So we're talking about a very, very small island, Barbados, beautiful tropical island. You know, I really hate when people say that someone has an overnight success or that they're, overnight discovered. And this happened in 2003 when she was kind of discovered by the Western world. And I say this lightly because, of course, there's years and years before that where she's still performing and she loves to sing and dance. So this is kind of when she's discovered and she's signed by Def Jam Records. And we all know that she has a very kind of strong connection with Jay-Z. He's kind of the one who hones her into who she is. So we have 2005, Pon de Replay is her first single, which comes out, which is from the album Music of the Sun. And then from there, it basically is bam, 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 hit after hit after hit. But really, the song that she's really well known for and when she kind of hits her iconic status is her Grammy award-winning song, Umbrella, which features Jay-Z.
Yes, and that was in 2008. And as you said, there was a conveyor belt of successful releases and albums from then on. Although she's on a slight bit of a hiatus at the moment, to date she sold over 250 million records worldwide. So she is one of the best-selling artists of all time.
Well, what's your favourite song of Rihanna's, Matthew?
There's so many. Pon de Replay is definitely up there. Depends what I'm doing, I suppose.
But
I actually met Rihanna once.
Did you, Matthew?
I did, yeah.
Where did you meet her? Why are you smiling and moving around on your chair?
Well,
I met her once.
I actually did. I used to work in the O2, which is now called the 3 Arena in Dublin for our Generation Z friends. And it's called the Point Depot for anyone Gen X or older. I was actually working there as a concierge, so I'd help people around the venue, etc. And she was there, and I opened the door for her. I did. And it's probably more memorable for me than it is for her, I'd imagine.
That's hilarious.
Usually the way. But what I want to point out though with Rihanna, I think just in her background, thinking about Napoleon, he was a brilliant military person, but he was also a brilliant politician and brilliant leader, and he understands about the symbolism of jewelry. And I think we'll get into it, but I think Rihanna actually also understands that. But she's a fantastic businesswoman in addition to her songs.
I think it's, you have to have a product that people want in order to become a great businesswoman. And she is a product that people want. If she was to release a CD if she was to release an album today that she's been working on since 2016, which is her last time that she released music, regardless of what it was, it would sell out. She has such a huge fan base. She has such loyal fans and people are intrigued by her and her style. and her music, that's her beginning. All of the other things that she's done since then are super impressive too. Her Fenty lingerie, her collabs with many different jewelry houses, but not only that, with Louboutin. She also did collaborations with Puma, and she had her own fashion line, and what she's done for the makeup industry as well. All of these things make her into such a beloved character, but also a huge icon that's groundbreaking, that's doing things that nobody else has done before, and is a billionaire before she's 40 with the dream. You know, she's got her children, she's got her partner, but she's still very independently wealthy. And, you know, what more could a girl want?
So I love what you were talking about there, Alyce, about Rihanna's kind of distinctive style and how she was bold with her choices, but also kept it classic, which in a way for antique jewellery was a perfect role model because it kept that classical look, embracing different periods of antique jewellery. I know we can get into some of the pieces, the Art Deco pieces, the Oscar Hayman pieces, the Victorian pieces that she wore, but also put such a modern vibe on it. But when I was looking at Rihanna's jewellery, I mean, I think it was the versatility in which she used the pieces, which was really interesting. I mean, you only have to look at some of her big looks that she wore. Famously wore a timepiece as a choker. And following that, Taylor Swift did exactly the same thing. And like, really, Rihanna was the trendsetter there. And if you look at photos of that, actually, it looks very well. Now, it was a $700,000 timepiece. So, I mean, it was going to look well no matter where you put it. She also famously wore a very nice diamond ring, which was valued at $600,000. But she actually wore it on her middle toe on her left foot. And if you look at it, it's actually quite a substantial diamond ring, in addition to wearing bracelets, but fashioned as anklets. So, you know, really uses different ways of wearing the jewelry. And I think it reminded me of when we do a magazine once a year, and we use lots of different antique jewels in that magazine. And we also try to show that there is different ways you can wear them. And I think Rihanna epitomizes that.
It's about thinking outside the box. You know, she's really unconventional in the way that she styles herself. If you look at just how thought-provoking and also outrageous her outfits have gone throughout the kind of decades. She's gone from having a pixie cut haircut, which is like extremely short black hair. Then she's had red hair, where she's had it in every single kind of bob, lob, mullet, things that would be considered out of fashion, unconventional, punkish, rockish. And she has literally explored every type of style. And she's shown us how to do it in the way that she would do it, not a copy of somebody else. This is what makes an icon, is that it's a groundbreaking, something new, a diamond ring on a toe. Like, you know, she's thinking outside of the box. She's giving us new ways to wear jewelry. She's understanding the way in which it feels on the body, the best placement for it to be seen, the best placement for it with an outfit. And she is the curator of that. And it's really interesting to see. And it gives us opportunity to change how we dress and what we wear, and to explore different things for ourselves. This is what makes her truly iconic. And in terms of her jewelry, she is a layering queen. She layers everything, and she doesn't follow any rules. She is like, absolutely not. Rules in the bin. That's what she's like. She's literally rules in the bin. I don't care if you say I should have, 3 rings on one finger. I've heard a jeweler before tell another client that it's tacky to wear a ring on your pointer finger. And they asked me, is it tacky to wear a ring on the pointer finger? And I'm like, who dictates what is tacky?
It's very strange that a jeweler would say that. I mean, we advise people, honestly and very frankly, sometimes to our detriment. But I think a ring on your pointer finger is absolutely, it can be one of the coolest rings, actually.
But it doesn't. But this is what Rihanna does. Is she's like, well, what might look good on you doesn't look good on me. We need to explore how we feel about the things that we're wearing, and she opens that door for everybody else. Because she does it, she gives other people permission to do the same. And that's really an important thing for women to see. She was pregnant. She's probably the first person we've seen in maternity wear that's come out in a pair of lacy underwear, a see-through lingerie piece on a red carpet with jewellery with a pregnant belly, to say, I can still be sexy when I'm pregnant. She literally revolutionized that. Now we see everybody walking around with their underwear and their bellies out. She gave women permission to do that. That is what an icon is. An icon is allowing us to look at someone and be like, wow, look what they're able to do. I can do that, or I want to do that, or I'm inspired to do that, or I'm motivated to do that. And this is so important because she's still alive. So she's still going to bring new things to the table as we move through her following decades. We're not even at 40 yet, and this is what we've got from her. So this is huge in terms of our current listeners.
I think that's a good benchmark that we should be thinking about for our future icons as well. And we've a good few lined up, but for any future ones, as you said, she gave women permission to dress like that during pregnancy. But to be an icon, you nearly have to be the first person to do that. It's like being a leader in that sense of it. And if you think about Napoleon in our first episode, he did that with a lot of the jewellery, fashioning his, regalia for being Emperor of France. But Rihanna definitely is the first to do a lot of those designs and pieces. And I mean, listen, from our point of view, which really captures my imagination anyway, is you would think that the jewelry she uses for these purposes is all custom made, brand new, with modern designs, but it's not at all. She really embraces the antique pieces. And I can tell you, as someone who certainly sees a lot of antique jewelry and appreciates the finer details of it, she gets some absolutely cracking pieces of antique jewelry. And a famous one that I remember seeing her wear, she had 3 Art Deco panel bracelets. And if you think of a panel bracelet, is usually maybe like an inch wide or 6 or 7 centimeters wide, had all different cuts of stones. But she, as you said, layering queen, had 3 of them on, went up nearly from her wrist to halfway up towards her elbow. Looked really cool. She also had one of my favorite jewelry makers / designers. She wore an Oscar Heyman diamond necklace, very beautiful. Like Oscar Heyman always uses the best colored stones and like very high grade diamonds. We've mentioned Oscar Heyman before. The jeweler to jewelers, right? Makes a lot of jewelry, doesn't always sell it themselves, gets it and sells it, and other people put their mark on it. And she also wore that Oscar Heyman necklace. So again, wearing a nice antique and vintage jeweler in addition to the more modern pieces that she wears.
And that's so true in terms of her embrace of antique jewelry. She understands the value and the beauty and the individuality that sits within something that is a one-off piece, whether that be modern or whether that be antique. One of her looks that really stands out to me is her Oscar performance in 2023, which she was pregnant for. She wore 3 De Beers diamond necklaces, and they were just under 100 carats of diamonds in total weight.
Right.
And, when she's singing and she's performing, of course, she is dazzling because of her talent, but she knows how to actually match that with the styling that she chooses for those performances. And these layers of necklaces is not something that she just does for that. She also has a number of different, she went to the annual Diamond Ball benefit in 2017 with the same kind of layering technique that she used for the Oscar performance. She also wore similar things to like the BET Awards. We also talked about the Dior Fashion Week show in 2022 where she comes in black lingerie but is also pregnant. This particular outing, she's also wearing layers of diamond necklaces. So it's kind of like her thing. Layering is definitely a thing for her. As you said, bracelet stacks is another thing, which is again is layering. And probably one of her most iconic looks for me is her pregnancy announcement that she does with A$AP Rocky. And she's wearing a pink puffer coat. And the puffer coat is kind of like buttoned up until where the belly begins. And the belly is then out on show, obviously to show that she's pregnant. And hanging over her belly, she has basically belly chains that have a beautiful cross that's hanging over it, pearls, and a number of different gemstones. And it's really now an iconic look and kind of another way that she's kind of burst the norms, because usually we see, when you think of a pregnancy announcement, it's like a little like pictures of an ultrasound, or it's like,
I know it's gender reveal, but when you say pregnancy announcement, I think of like cutting a cake and then it's pink or blue inside. But I know that's another step down the road.
No, but it's kind of like that. She kind of shuns against that and just comes out with wearing something that's kind of considered streetwear with a super cool edge to it, which she's literally done with jewelry to, go, yeah, I'm pregnant. And I'm really happy about it, but I'm still me. I'm still an individual. I'm still me. And she does it so well. This is effortless for her.
Right. I'm no fashion consultant, right? Let's just start at that base. But Alyce is nodding in agreement there. But
it's not.
I would say, I'm just looking at that look, and it is a beautiful, as you said, Chanel chain belt, pearls hanging over it, and a Christian Lacroix cross, vintage 1980s piece, very bright stones in it. I think if she just had that jacket closed and no jewelry, it would look very normal in inverted commas. But it completely
it's about styling.
Transcends it then. It makes it very uniquely her. And then I was just thinking when you were talking about the De Beers necklaces, the three of them. And I was thinking, God, she really likes diamonds. And then I thought, oh yeah, well she'd have that song, which is quite famous.
What song?
No, we're not singing today yet. We have to pay extra for that. But But yeah, no, there are some really iconic pieces that really make her stand out from the crowd. Before we get back to the episode, I would just like to say that with Christmas fast approaching, we would love to hear from you. So we are going to do a special Christmas Q&A session where you, the listeners, get to lead it. So if you have any topics or questions you would like to ask us, make sure you DM us on Instagram at Courtville Antiques, or you can email us at experts@courtville.ie, and we'll do our best to answer those questions in our Christmas special. Let's get back to the episode. Well, at least there's so many to choose from in terms of really iconic jewelry moments for Rihanna. I just picked the one that stuck in my head the most, with the one that I instantly thought of Rihanna and jewelry, what stuck in my head. But what would you pick as your most favorite Rihanna iconic moment?
I'm going to go with something that's a little bit more obscure that most people wouldn't have seen. So it'll give you a good reason to actually look it up. So it's actually a magazine cover. It's the September issue of the W magazine in 2016. And I've chosen this particular style moment for her because one thing that I get quite often when I'm working with antique jewelry is people will come into me and go like, who would ever wear a tiara now? Where would you wear a tiara? Who would wear a choker? Who would wear pearls? You know, this is the kind, it's old fashioned and there's nowhere to wear it. This particular September issue of the W magazine just shows her style prowess. She is featured and photographed by Stephen Klein, and this is probably her most beautiful photo shoot for me. Number one, we're looking at a tiara and a choker, and both of these pieces are from the Cartier Heritage Collection, and they're both Belle Epoque. So they're kind of the quintessential Cartier pieces on how Cartier at that time got to be known by the British royal family and eventually created tiaras for the coronation of King Edward VII. And Rihanna in 2016 is taking these pieces. This diamond choker fits so gorgeously around her neck. I can't even, it looks like it was actually made for her.
Her neck looks so long in that photo as well.
And beautiful. She looks literally like a goddess. The actual choker features beautiful kind of garland leaf motifs, studded with old cut diamonds, open work details, which obviously that negative spacing shows through to the neck. She's also then crowned with an amazing tiara, which is platinum and contains over 1,000 diamonds and dates back to 1902. So it was initially designed and commissioned for the Countess of Essex. And like I've said, the coronation of King Edward VII, people were requested to wear tiaras. So those who didn't have tiaras in their collection were commissioning them to get created for the event. So it's probably one of my most favorite shots when you see the spanning of the crowd and you just see the sea of sparkle that's coming off of the women's heads.
Why did we lose that at the latest coronation?
It was a huge mistake, I personally think, but I think it's because they thought that with the way that the economy is and things like that right now, that the people might not
But we
enjoy.
know the royalty have jewellery. This is not a secret.
I know.
This is not a secret.
I know. And I actually think it's probably worse that they're like trying to pretend that actually, no, we're like you. No. You have all of this wealth. Show us it. That's the only reason why we want to see you. Please show us your tiaras. But this is what I'm talking about. Rihanna is wearing this particular tiara and it's stunning. It's like the scroll work is, very traditional. We have diamonds that again are going in a scrolling fashion, but also could be considered garland style. But if you look at the pictures of Rihanna, she is styled in very contemporary wares with these jewels. Her makeup is also very contemporary as well. And she's mixing the old world with the new, the darkness of her hair, the beauty of her skin, and the stunning way in which she's photographed in this particular editorial is beyond beautiful. And again, historic collection from Cartier, which means that we don't get to see them very often. They go into vaults and they're not available for the public to see. So unless it's in an exhibit or if it's been requested, we don't get to see it. So the fact that she's got access to these things as well and people want her to wear them also adds to the please let us see it on you aspect of her.
It sounds like she's living part of your life, Alyce. People wanting you to wear their jewellery. A lot of people do want you to wear their jewellery, though, I would say.
I don't know if I'm knock on Cartier's door. Hey, can I have like a look in the vault? Or just going out this Friday night. Is there anything that I can wear?
My name's Alyce Ketcher. I'm the host of Jen Pursuit. Would you mind? I'm good for it. I'll definitely come back.
Just so that I can also state that the the collar that she's wearing, or the choker that she's wearing, was also made in 1905, and it was a special commissioned piece for the socialite Mary Scott Townsend. Again, it's a Cartier piece.
Collier de chien.
There you go, a dog collar. So for those who don't speak French and speak Australian, I'm here for you. It's important to mention that because, again, something that is antique, that she is made so modern. She's shown it in a beautiful photo shoot, and that is my piece or my styling part that I loved of hers. Now over to you, Matthew. What was yours?
Well, what I love about that, Alyce, before I get to my one, is that it's actually something that I've seen you do in store and Darcy do it in store, is take, that was a purpose-built choker, but you take, I remember we had this platinum and diamond Art Deco bracelet, quite a wide panel bracelet that kind of got a bit wider to the middle, and you put it on velvet and wore it as a choker and it looked amazing. Although I don't know if that one was perfectly lended itself to be a choker, as it had sort of a pointy outbit in the middle, just where your like throat would be. But
who cares? I mean, if it looks good, the point, you can just deal with a little bit of choking. It's all right. It's all good.
The one I'm going to go with is not a magazine cover, but it's when I thought of Rihanna's look, it's the one that I instantly thought of. It's quite a recent one, and there's a couple of reasons I really like this look. Number one, it was just so striking, the whole outfit that she was wearing. Number two, it had Art Deco brooches included, quite a few of them. And again, she wore them in a way that we've actually styled people before. And it also had a very nice ring involved. And it was her halftime show at the Super Bowl in 2023. And you might remember it because she's wearing basically a big red suit.
From Loewe. I remember it. It's like a big red boiler suit. So basically what you expect like to see your mechanic wearing. But again, she makes it look so effortlessly chic, but also sexy.
And this was, as we talked about, her belly chains previously. This was for baby number 2. This was her pregnancy announcement. Wearing jewels over $1 million, the Loewe and Alia designed piece. And also it was a 14-minute performance. And what really stood out for me was such a striking outfit. But if you look at the way that she wore the Art Deco brooches, I remember we had a really good friend of ours, and he's been on some of our different competitions before, Andrew Fitzsimons. I remember he was on the Late Late Show in Ireland, and we gave him a lend of some Art Deco brooches, and he wore them on the lapel, kind of staggered down. As I remember, there was I don't know if we went biggest to smallest, or we varied the shapes or whatever, but it's exactly the same in this. She has 3 brooches kind of in a triangular format. One is almost like a crescent shaped Art Deco brooch. The other one is a swag with a very large center stone in the middle. And the third one is like a chandelier Art Deco pendant with baguette cut diamonds that tapers right down and has a very beautiful large teardrop pearl at the bottom. And the white diamonds, okay, yeah, we all know Rihanna loves diamonds, right? The white diamonds on this very, very strong, like Coca-Cola red, if that's the right way of describing it, just really stood out for me. And based on the moment, baby number 2, as you said, iconic way of doing it. I think a lot of people will be familiar with that look. And if you're not, you should definitely look it up.
Another way of this shows another way of her taking something that is considered out of fashion or no longer viable and just making it effortlessly cool. She's, and again, a stacking queen. So stacking them all together. Also, it's kind of like considered in the jewelry world that you wouldn't necessarily wear red with red or green with green because you wouldn't, sometimes the colors don't match, but she also shuns that with this look and wears an extremely expensive watch that's by Jacob and Company, or Jacob and Co., which is a red leather watch with diamonds encrusted all over it. And she also wears an extraordinarily large ruby ring, which
Yes.
is worth over, I think, over $1 million just in that particular one ring. And
It is 19.47 carat unheated sugarloaf Burmese ruby.
yeah, this is what again, she takes another thing which is considered wildly out of fashion or a little bit more unusual, which is an unfaceted gemstone. So she takes this cabochon, which the sugarloaf kind of comes up into a point instead of having little flat facets all over it that gives a little bit more glimmer, a little bit more sparkle to the stone. She takes a pure red gem that has no faceting, and she wears that as one of her statement rings on the night. So cool, so unusual, outside of the box, not trying to replicate somebody else's look. She makes her own stage on which she styles herself.
Honorable mention for a 2018 Met Gala look, dressed up basically as the Pope. Incredible headpiece, or very beautiful cross, a Cartier crucifix, not a cross. The Cartier crucifix by Cartier London, made in 1934 with sapphires, diamonds, rubies, pearls, onyx, and topaz. That's definitely one. We've picked our favorite pieces, but as an honorable mention, you should definitely look up this piece.
I wouldn't say that that's the honorable mention. I would say the honorable mention is her influence on her significant other, which is A$AP Rocky, whose style has definitely upped the ante, no pun intended, since being with Rihanna. I mean, jewelry game on point, Met Gala looks on point, completely styling himself outside of the box, taking what was originally considered the rapper's aesthetic, which is big chains, big diamonds, pave settings, and going, actually, you know what? I think I'll wear a strand of pearls and a pearl choker and an ornate painted portrait from the Victorian era around my neck.
It looks so right on him, though. It actually looks perfect.
But he is gaining inspiration from Rihanna.
Wouldn't we all? So, for this week's Gem Trivial Pursuit, do you want to ask me first? Do you want to have a target to aim for?
Yeah, no, I think.
Or do you want me to ask?
Well, last time I asked you first, so maybe you have to ask me first this time around. But let's just all remember who Ross's favorite is, and it's Matthew. So he's the one who does these questions. Just putting that
Just
out there
off
first.
air a second ago, Ross said that Alyce is his favorite.
He was just trying to
And
placate me.
Also, Alyce, you're also my favorite. But I have to say, Ross is an impartial quiz master, so we appreciate that, Ross.
Question one. Go,
Question
Matthew.
one for Alyce in Gem Trivial Pursuit Rihanna edition. Which song did Rihanna release even in 2007 that became her first Billboard Hot 100 #1 single? 2007. So it'll be early on now.
Unfaithful.
That is incorrect. If you hear any noise in the background, by the way, that's just my dog Esther rolling around on the floor. She was very tired, but she's got a spate at the zoomies now. The answer is SOS. Yeah, you
Sing
know.
it. Yeah, what is it, Matthew?
We'll leave that to your imagination. Anyway, no one would recognize it if I sang it anyway. Question 2. Rihanna collaborated with which rapper for the hit single Love the Way You Lie in 2010?
Eminem.
That is correct. That's 1 out of 2. Okay. Next one. Bearing in mind, Rihanna's been on a hiatus since 2016. Question 3. How many studio albums has Rihanna got?
I want to say 7.
The answer is 8.
Look at Matthew's face. The answer is 8.
The answer is 8, but 2 out of 3 ain't bad.
You know what? Your questions are so much easier than mine, and it is it is actually ridiculous how much easier yours are. And I'm going to prove this to everybody on here by actually asking Darcy, and I'm going today, and I'm going to both of them, and I'm going to go come on here next week, and I'm going to tell you all exactly how many she got right. She's going to get 100% of the questions that I'm about to ask you right.
Darcy is so not easy. The gold standard for popular culture. Not in the slightest. She listens to heavy metal and watches old westerns.
These are the most easiest questions ever.
I'm sorry, just for the record, Alyce got 1 out of 3, not 2 out of 3.
If you don't get every single one of these questions right, you've been living under a rock.
Don't step me up on a pedestal to
you
fall down.
You would literally be living inside a chimney.
Get the questions. They're all fair.
Question
Ross
1 for Matthew.
Even and fair
he
questions.
doesn't.
Thank you,
He
Ross.
doesn't.
Very
he
fair.
doesn't. None of these have anything to do with any kind of studio. Not a single one of these are about a song that was released in a certain year. Not one.
That's not difficult. Everyone knows SOS in 2007.
You're such a liar. Such a liar.
Everyone knows
Question
that.
1 for Matthew.
It's like that.
Which is a gimme from Ross.
4 provinces of Ireland.
Question 1 as a give me from Ross is number 1, what is the name of Rihanna's fashion brand launched under LVMH? Which we spoke about 5 times during the podcast.
It's not Victoria's Secret. It's Fenty.
Yeah, exactly. I know you know what it is. You're sitting there pretending like you don't know what it is, but I can see you.
That's to dig deep into the brain cells there.
That's correct, everybody. Just it'd be very strange if you didn't know the answer to that. Question 2. Rihanna played a role in which 2018 heist film that featured an all-female cast?
You know I don't watch films really.
But you know this one. You mentioned it to me last week. So unless you're trying to keep Gem Trivial Pursuit from being like not completely rigged.
Look, Alyce just wants me to get 3 out of 3 to prove herself right, I guess. But
you're going to say it because you know what it is.
I actually don't know what it is.
You literally were speaking to me about it last week.
Really?
Yes.
Rihanna was in a film. Sorry, this is
in 2018. That is a heist film.
It must be like Oceans.
You see, I can see in your face that you know what it is because you chose. Yeah, correct. Question 3: Rihanna's hit song "Work" features which Canadian rapper? Even we've got the nationality of the person in here too.
Which Canadian rapper?
There's only one Canadian rapper, really, isn't there?
This is not going to be my strong suit.
Matthew, stop being ridiculous.
No.
Rihanna's hit song "Work" features which Canadian rapper?
I'm actually not joking, but could you sing just a little bit? Because then I could picture the video.
No.
Work. You got to work.
No.
We can work it out. No.
Come on, 3 for 3, and I know that you know this one.
A rapper from Canada. The only artist I can think of from Canada is Justin Bieber. But I don't think he's a rapper. I don't think it's A$AP Rocky because they're married. Canadian rapper. I have no idea, Alyce. What Canadian rapper?
Why are you laughing?
This is not my answer.
I know that you know this.
I don't know this. I'm trying to think. I'm just going to start naming rappers and let me think if any of them are Canadian.
No, just choose one because this is going on way too long now, and just say one person.
We're not here.
We're not here. You've got 10 seconds.
No, I don't have 10 seconds.
10,
I've got as much time.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4.
Do you know what? It's really hard to concentrate with
2, 1, go.
Usher's American.
Matthew, we don't have all day for you to decide who is a Canadian. Please just choose a rapper, any rapper.
I don't know. Sean Paul is Jamaican.
Matthew, I don't want to know the nationalities of rappers. Just tell American.
Me.
Just choose a rapper for goodness sake.
Let me think. Hold on. I literally can't think of any rapper. Ross not happy. The only Canadian artist I can think of
Incorrect.
is Justin Bieber.
Incorrect.
I don't think. Who is it?
Drake.
I had no idea he's Canadian.
Whatever.
Those questions were very fair, and we look forward to the next round very, very soon.
Thank you, Ross.
Well, great round of Gem Trivial Pursuit, and we are going to wrap it up there with plenty more icons to come in our following episodes. But make sure you do subscribe and follow the podcast if you want to keep up to date with those future episodes. This episode was produced by Ross Hannon of Tape Deck with research and project management from Veronique Galgan. Alyce, as always, thank you very much for joining me on Gem Pursuit today.
Thanks, Matthew.
And most of all, thank you to everyone who's listening. And if you have any feedback or ideas, we'd love to hear from you. You can get us on Instagram, or you can get us on our email at experts@courtville.ie. From me, your host, Matthew Weldon, until the next episode, it's goodbye.